A very good morning to you and welcome to the news at 7. I'm Ebere. We're going to line the headlines this morning. Governor Obiano reinstates commitment towards accelerating technological development of the state. Stakeholders urged to support upgrading of school infrastructure to meet the demands of the day. Federal government places 50 high-profile Nigerians on travel ban list. On the foreign scene this morning, 19 people killed as migrant vehicle crashed in Turkey. And now details of the news. Governor Willie Obiano has visited the famous Cambridge Innovation Center in Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, in Boston, Massachusetts, in search of ideas that would nurture technological talent in the state, as demonstrated by the 5 Anambra schoolgirls who won a gold medal at the World Technovation Challenge in the Silicon Valley in San Francisco, USA. We have details.
Cambridge Innovation Center, CIC, is one of the leading technology incubation centers in the world, where smart tech heads with bright ideas are given an ideal environment to evolve innovative ideas and a strategic platform to pitch their ideas to venture capitalists who have the financial resources to fund new technological ideas. Conducting Governor Obiano and his team around the facility, the relationship manager of the center, Mr. Christian Fratus, explained that the volume of funds that was available to the center was many times the volume of venture capital available to all of the United Kingdom. Governor Obiano's mission in the center was to carry out a first-hand assessment of the place, discuss possibilities of partnership, and adapting the model to jump-start his dream of turning Anambra State into a leading technological hub in the West African region, a move which he started by inaugurating the Anambra State Creative Economy Council shortly after he took the oath for his second term in office. While on tour of the center, the governor interacted with young bright tech heads at the Innovation Cafe and discussed the possibilities of their visiting Anambra State to interact with the youth and offer new high-tech solutions to the developmental needs of the state. One of the bright head techs the governor met with at the center is Nigeria's Ezinne Uzo Okoro, who had spent 14 years at the National Aeronautics and Space Administration (NASA), and 22-year-old Indo-Swiss Divyanshu Vashni, founder and president of Visual Reality Company, among many others. The governor was accompanied by his chief of staff, Mr. Primus Odele, his principal secretary, Sir Willie Nwokoye, member representing Ayamelum in Anambra State House of Assembly, Mr. Uche Okafo, and Alex Onukwu, national president of ASATU.
Two ultra-modern toilet facilities rehabilitated by Women Wing in Nimo Town Development Union, NTDU Lagos branch, have been handed over to Community Secondary School Nimo in Jikoka local government area. The toilet, which contains 12 rooms in one block and 5 rooms in the other, was renovated to promote hygiene among the students, enhance the sanitary condition of the school, and to protect them from dangers of communicable diseases. Correspondent Emmanuel Chibata was at the handover ceremony and completes this report.
The event had in attendance the Commissioner for Basic Education, Professor Kate Omenoya, represented by the Director of the Ministry, Mrs. Stella Obalo, the President General of the town, Dr. Frank Anthony Ibuka, executive members of Women Wing of NTDU, and others. Speaking during the ceremony, Professor Omenoya applauded the Women Wing for responding to the clarion call of the school by building such facilities, noting that the initiative will tackle challenges of students easing themselves in the bush with attendant risk of snake bites or other injuries by dangerous animals. In their speeches, the chairman of the branch, Mrs. Esther Oyanna, and the community women leader of the town, Dr. Josephine Ilokanono, who explained that the whole school is suffering from neglect, called on NTDU branches in diaspora to intervene and build a project for the school.
That the toilet facility there is bad, and so we mobilize all our women everywhere they are to do something for that school, even to renovate the halls. The halls are bad, there's no perimeter fencing, so many things are bad there.
Also speaking, the President General of the town, Dr. Ibuka, who decried the situation of the toilet, said it was reconstructed to assist the school and aid to improve the health of the students. He further called on women of other communities to key into such projects and embrace think home philosophy.
I have to call on all the other people from different branches of NTDU to come up and rush and see how they can as well help the Nimo Community Secondary School. That's where our children goes. Future tomorrows are there, so we need to assist them in all ways.
Responding, the acting principal of the school, Ms. Edna Mbuba, and the immediate past principal of the school, Mrs. Francisca Omeili, expressed optimism that the project would improve hygiene in the school.
We are very happy that the NTDU Women Wing Lagos helped us to rehabilitate the toilet facilities, because before now it was a serious sanitary issue.
From Community Secondary School, Nimo, in Njikoka local government area, I am Emmanuel Chubata, reporting for ABS News.
No fewer than 17 child births have been recorded at various designated holding centers provided by Anambra State government for people affected by flood over the last 3 weeks. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Joe Akabike, disclosed this while receiving a team of medical doctors from Nigerian Medical Association, NMA, Anambra State Chapter, who were on medical outreach at Aguleri and Atani holding centers. According to the Health Commissioner, out of the 6 women at Atani Center, 2 were delivered of their babies through cesarean section, CS, of the Comprehensive Health Center, CHC, Atani. Dr. Akabike added that government had installed adequate measures to care for pregnant women and others at various centers. The State Hospital Administrator, Dr. Richmond Achibu, during a visit to the centers, said that 11 nursing mothers were quartered at Central School of Dekbe Holding Center and had spontaneous vertex delivery, SVD, noting that they and their babies were doing fine. He added that pregnant women at the holding centers with health challenges were receiving Medicare at Comprehensive Health Center, Atani, adding that a team of medical personnel had been assigned to offer assistance in different areas of needs at the center. And away from that, Christians have been urged to uphold the commandments of God to attract His blessings. The Vicar St. Michael's and All Angels Anglican Church, Ifitoka, Reverend Canon Kenechukwu forgave the charge in a sermon on the theme, Consider Your Destiny. He stated that God created all for a purpose which will be made manifest if one trusts and submits to His will. We have the reports.
Reverend Canon Nwafo told the parishioners that they have glorious destiny in Christ if they follow the ways, and advise them to remain prayerful in all times to achieve their purpose in life.
As a people of God, we have a glorious destiny in Christ. We have a glorious destiny in Christ. That at the time that Christ will be revealed, that will be like Him in glory. Wearing the crown of eternal life. At the time of His coming, will be transformed to the glory of Christ.
At St. Anthony's Catholic Church, Ifitoka, a visiting priest, Reverend Father Maximus Mojeke, in his homily, charged Christians to draw nearer to God and witness His presence in their lives. Reverend Father Mojeke stated that there is joy in serving the Lord and stressed that a good Christian should live more of spiritual life. He pointed out that in spiritual life, God will give one wisdom and grace to excel.
There is always a difference between social life and the spiritual life. A person who is growing up is bound to develop himself in the 4 dimensions of human life.
In Oka, Amaka Chibuzo Okoye, ABS News.
Residents of Idimili South local government area have been urged to come out en masse to claim their permanent voters cards when distribution begins. The electoral officer in charge of the local government area, Mr. Friday Ehagure, made the call during a community stakeholders meeting organized by the National Identity Management Commission in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency at Ojoto, the council headquarters. Mr. Ehagure, while announcing the distribution of the permanent voters cards, lamented that there are about 8,000 unclaimed permanent voters cards in the area. The electoral officer said that the distribution exercise, which will last for 2 weeks, will take place at various INEC collation centers in each of the 7 towns that make up Idimili South Council area. And moving on to our national stories, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved traveling restriction on no fewer than 50 high-profile persons directly affected in investigations by security agencies in the country. By this, the persons cannot travel out of Nigeria pending the determination of their cases. President Buhari's senior special assistant on media and publicity, Garuba Shehu, who disclosed this in a statement, said that the measure is part of the implementation of Executive Order Number 6, which seeks to ensure that all assets within a minimum value of 50 million naira or equivalent, subject to investigation or litigation, are protected from dissipation by employing all available lawful means, pending the final determination of any corruption-related matter. Though the identities of those affected were not disclosed, the statement emphasized that the financial transactions of those of interest are also being monitored by relevant agencies to ensure that the assets are not dissipated and such persons do not interfere with investigation and litigation processes. In business news, the Shippers Council of Nigeria has jettisoned a memorandum of understanding it entered into with the Nigerian Shippers Council to ship transit cargo through Nigeria. The country has instead decided to ship its cargoes through the ports of Cotonou and Ghana. The Executive Secretary, NSC, Mr. Hassan Bello, who confirmed this at a seminar organized by the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industries Freight, said the operators from Niger Republic found it easier moving their cargoes through Ghana and Cotonou ports than Nigeria's. Bello, who spoke through the Assistant Director Enforcement and Compliance, Public Service Department, NSC, Mr. Akujobi Chukwemeka, listed time wasting, insecurity and poor customer service among the reasons why the operators refused to honor the agreement with the Nigerian agency. Bello decried the poor customer service delivery in the seaports, noting that it was one of the major causes of inefficiency and the reason why most importers prefer to clear their cargoes through ports of neighboring countries. He blamed this on lack of automation of processes, time wasting in positioning containers and processing documents, lackluster and poor attitude of operators and government agencies to work towards customers. He said effective customer relations meant that the agencies would interact in a friendly manner with customers, thus making it easy for people to obtain information while making inquiries from customs terminal operators and other government agencies. In other ports, it would take a few hours to discharge oversized cargo, while in Nigeria, it would take days because the operators lack the equipment and the customer would wait for days for them to hire equipment to operate such cargo, the NSC Executive Director pointed out. In terms of infrastructure, most of the ports had no hinterland connection, he said, adding that it was only in Nigeria that seaports were built without rail connection, leading to Greek luck. And on entertainment news this morning, if the legendary Fela Anikulapo Kuti was still alive, he would be 80 years today. Age would have mellowed him down, all right, but his music would continue to evolve meticulously, reaching out to new levels of creativity along the path of classical African music, which he began in 1986 with a landmark album, Beast of No Nation. If Fela was still living, he would be vindicated at the current state of the Nigerian nation, where almost all the predictions he made and the accusations he leveled against successive governments in terms of corruption and bad governance are visibly manifesting themselves, which he fought hard to stem his ugly tide from the 70s to the 90s using his music as a weapon. Some of his songs that spoke volumes of the political and economic situation of today were Sorrow, Blood and Tears, and Teachers Don't Teach Me Nonsense. This too spoke of corruption, poor governance, mismanagement of Nigeria's resources, economic slavery, and cultural imperialism, among many others, driving home the message with utmost urgency and immediacy. As far back as 1988, trumpeter Miles Davis, perhaps the most influential modern jazz musician that ever lived, a critic and an astute judge of music and musicians, predicted that Fela's Afrobeat would become one of the musics of the world. After 21 years of his death, Afrobeat bands have been formed all over the world, drawing from Fela's overwhelming influence, even as musicians and fans lapse into his vocal raps to make a point. And on the foreign scene, 19 people, including children, were killed when a vehicle carrying migrants reportedly heading for EU member Greece plunged off the highway into a waterway in western Turkey, according to state media. The vehicle, believed to be a lorry, was traveling on a highway in the Izmir region close to Izmir Airport, where it flipped over and fell into the channel several meters below. The nationality of the migrants was not made clear. 19 people were killed, the agency said, lifting an earlier toll of 15, while 11 more were wounded. Turkish television pictures showed the striking wreckage of the vehicle, which was reduced to burned-out metal by the impact of the crash. Large numbers of emergency service personnel were sent to the scene. According to media reports, the vehicle was headed for the coast of Izmir region, from where the migrants planned to take a boat to Greece Samos Island. Samos is just a few kilometers north of Turkey's Dailik Peninsula that juts out from the Izmir region. Turkey is a key transit point for migrants from troubled countries in the Middle East, Asia, and Africa seeking a new life in Europe. 1 million migrants crossed from Turkey into Greece in 2015, mostly by boats, in a crisis which forced a deal between Ankara and the EU to stem the flow of people. Numbers have fallen since, but people are still undertaking what is a highly perilous journey. According to UN figures, more than 24,500 migrants have arrived in Greece by sea so far this year, with 118 people losing their lives via this route. On sports news, President of the Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, Amaju Pinnick, has dedicated the Super Eagles' 4-0 defeat of Libya in the 2019 African Cup of Nations AFCON qualifier in Uyo on Saturday to President Muhammadu Buhari. The Saturday's match was the first in the fresh tenure of the Pinnick-led NFF following the elections in Katsina on September 20 that handed the board another 4-year term. A statement by Ademola Olajire, NFF's Director of Communications, and made available to newsmen in Abuja, quoted Pinnick as saying that the Eagles' victory was dedicated to President Buhari for his continued support to the NFF. Pinnick said Nigeria shot to second place in Group A of the 2019 African Cup of Nations qualifying series after Odion Ihalo exercised his ghost with a spectacular hat-trick, and the impressive Samuel Kalu added one to condemn the Mediterranean Knights to a 4-0 defeat in Uyo. Pinnick, who is also the first vice president of CAF, commended NFF's partners and sponsors for their huge contributions to all facets of the Nigerian game. The Super Eagles and the Mediterranean Knights of Libya will clash again in a matchday 4 fixture at the 18,000 capacity Stade Taib Mihiri in the city of Sfax, Tunisia, tomorrow. And that's it in the news at 7. Remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by logging onto our website, www.absradiotv.com. Like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/ABS Radio Television. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ABS Radio TV. And just before we go, the main points again. Governor Obiano has reinstated commitment towards accelerating technological development of the state. The governor was speaking when he visited Cambridge Innovation Center in Massachusetts, USA. Stakeholders have been urged to support upgrading of school infrastructure to meet the demands of the day. Federal government has placed 50 high-profile Nigerians on travel ban list. And on the foreign scene, 19 people have been killed as migrant vehicle crashed in Turkey. Many thanks for joining us this morning. I am Ebere Ugonna. Good morning. Anambra continues shortly. Please stay with us.